Hey guys, this is Mr. Roxy coming at you live from Palm Beach. It is Tuesday evening. It is 11:23, November the 23rd, and there's lots of talk going on in the market about the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, the SPR, Strategic Petroleum Reserve, and Biden's grand plan to release 50 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. It's only been done 3 times in the past, and usually in the instances of war or disaster. So war would be, examples of that obviously are some of the more recent wars that the United States has been involved in, and disaster would be something like Hurricane Katrina. So it's quite an unusual step. I'm not sure how they actually decided to do this, but it doesn't really matter because it's just, it's crazy stuff. So I thought, let's take a few minutes and just go through this and see what it actually means and what's going on. So first, just by way of a little bit of background, crude oil inventory build follows the announcement of the SPR release. This was published today in oilprice.com, so 23rd of November at 4 o'clock Central Time. The API, the American Petroleum Institute, reported an inventory build in crude oil. This week, the API estimated the inventory build for crude oil to be 2.307 million barrels. U.S. crude inventories are now 57 million barrels below where they were at the beginning of the year. Analysts' expectations for the week were a draw of 950 barrels for the week. In the previous week, the API had reported a build in inventory of 655,000 barrels per week, compared to the 1.550 million barrel build that analysts had predicted. So you can tell just at a glance that the analysts are horribly wrong, probably 95% of the time. Oil prices have been trading up on Tuesday in the run-up to the data release, even after the White House announced that it would release 50 million barrels of crude oil from the SPR to tackle high gasoline prices. There's some speculation on Twitter that the United States uses 20 million barrels of oil per day. It's not quite that much. It's about 18 million barrels of oil per day. So 50 million barrels, even if it were released all at once, which it's not going to be, is basically 2.5 days worth of oil in terms of what we are currently consuming. With WTI rising to $78 and Brent trading at $82, WTI was down more than 2% on the week. Brent was essentially flat. Interesting stuff. Okay, so let's quickly watch a short video here and kind of get a little bit of background as to what the Genius administration is talking about. So bear with me here for a second while I put this on.
Driving to their Thanksgiving destinations are paying a lot more for gas this year. AAA says the national average of $3.40 a gallon is up more than 60% from last year. President Biden today announced plans to cut fuel costs by tapping into the country's strategic reserves. We have more now from CBS's Ed O'Keefe.
The pain at the pump is being felt by Americans nationwide.
Nowadays, for this car, it's almost $100. So, yes, it's insane.
So tonight, President Biden is trying to rein in prices with a bold move.
I will do what needs to be done to reduce the price you pay at the pump.
50 million barrels of oil will be released from the nation's strategic reserves. That's a drop in the bucket, since the U.S. uses about 18 million barrels a day. That was news to the Energy Secretary.
How many barrels of oil does the U.S. consume per day? I don't have that number in front of me, sorry.
But Jennifer Granholm said the oil will be released gradually.
Oil will be released gradually. How gradually? Well, let's take a look at their plan. Summary of 50 million barrel release from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. Who is this published by? Energy.gov. The 50 million barrel release of Strategic Petroleum Reserve, which remember, I said is equal to about 2.5 days worth of oil that the United States will consume, will consist of a 32 million barrel exchange solicitation to be open to the public on Wednesday, November the 24th, that is tomorrow, and an 18 million barrel congressionally mandated sale that will conclude all sales under the authority of the Bipartisan Budget Act of 2018 during the fiscal years 2022 to 2025. Are you kidding me? How does this work? The exchange will be conducted with crude oil from all 4 of the SPR sites. 10 million from Bryant Mound, 10 million from Big Hill, etc., etc., etc. Watch this, guys. This is really, really cool. SPR crude oil will be delivered to successful bidders between December 16 and April 30th, with priority given to those bidders who can take the SPR crude oil at the earliest. Successful bidders will then have to deliver the amount of crude oil that they received, plus a premium volume defined in the solicitation, back to the same SPR site where the crude oil was released at specific months during the fiscal years 2022, 2023, and 2024. The longer it takes to return the crude oil back to the SPR, the more premium volume of crude oil will be required. I couldn't write a better cartoon myself. Companies interested in receiving crude oil through the exchange must submit their bids by no later than 10 a.m. Central Time, December the 6th. Okay. In 2 weeks from now, you must submit your bid, and contracts will be awarded to the successful offerors no later than December 14th. So in about 3 weeks from today. And when will this be released? The Bryant Mound will release approximately 10 million barrels, a nominal delivery rate per month of 3 million barrels between December the 16th and March the 30th, 2022. Big Hill, 10 million barrels between December 16th and April 30th, 2022. Like, really, guys? Is this like a joke or something? 50 million barrels, as I said, is 2.5 days worth of consumption. And what we're going to do is release the 50 million barrels in tranches over a period of time, which extends into several months next year, up to April the 30th. Any company registered in the SPR's crude oil sales program is eligible to participate in either the competitive exchange or the upcoming congressionally mandated sale. Other interested companies may register through SPR's website. Crude oil sales offer program. Successful bidders for exchange oil will be required to provide a letter of credit, which in itself also costs money. So that's the actual summary from the Department of Energy for the current administration. And that, guys, in a nutshell, is sort of a summary of Biden's incredible plan to dip into the strategic petroleum reserve in order to lower the price at the pump for American consumers. And they are doing this in collaboration with other countries, notably India and China. Not other countries, including, for instance, OPEC countries, because why bother? We're just asking OPEC to produce more in order to lower the price. I have, in all the years that I've been doing this, paying attention to this, I have not previously seen this level of genius in one administration. So on that note, guys, short and sweet, this is Mr. Roxy saying goodbye. Enjoy. Take care. See you later.